Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Kerry Kriger, founder and executive director of Save the Frogs, and I thank you for attending this members only webinar. The goal of these webinars is to keep our members informed as to our activities and for me to get your ideas, opinions, thoughts, comments, suggestions, and for me to answer any questions that you have. And these webinars can be about whatever you want them to be about. If you want to learn something in particular about frogs or find out something about Save the Frogs, what we're working on, if you have questions about a project, frog related, amphibian related that you are working on, a homework assignment, perhaps if you're a student, anything like that, this is a great way for me to answer all your questions and keep you posted on anything frog related that you want to hear about. And I want to thank you so much for being a member of Save the Frogs. It really makes our work possible. Most of our funding comes from individuals, people like you who are educated about amphibians and want them to stay alive. So I want to update you right now about some of the things that I've been working on. And one of those things is our Wetlands for Wildlife initiative. SaveTheFrogs.com/wetlands. You can read all about that. Last month, I went out with Tom Biebighauser, who's one of the world's premier wetland experts, wetland construction experts, and we went to 7 different sites around the San Francisco Bay Area. 5 of them were schools, 1 was city land, 1 was private property, and we designed wetlands, a total of 15 wetlands to be built there. Most of California's wetlands, unfortunately, have been destroyed or modified, so we want to create or recreate wetland habitat for amphibians and for environmental education purposes. We're going to get hundreds of students out helping to build the wetlands. The first wetland will get built in Marin County, Fairfax, California in October of 2014. And the 15 wetlands, the cost to build the wetlands and incorporate in all the environmental education that we want to do and promote the project to the greater public to inspire others to do the same is about $61,000. If an engineering company were to do it, then it would cost about $500,000. So it's a pretty good deal, and we are able to do that for about 10% of what the engineering companies would charge, because we'll be using volunteers, we'll be on the site during construction, and we won't waste our time doing lots of AutoCAD drawings and all kinds of blueprints. We're just going to take our knowledge of what needs to get done and go out there and build the wetlands. So as I said, we need to raise about $60,000. We've gotten a small amount from Frog Tape, a company, and also from Nature's Path and EnviroKids cereal. So if any of you work for companies that could sponsor our wetlands initiative, that'd be fantastic and help the company get some valuable, positive publicity as well. Something else I've been working on for about at least 4 years is the bullfrog issue in California. California is importing several million bullfrogs into the state each year, and most of these are for use as food, some of them for pets. The bullfrogs eat native wildlife and spread diseases. So been working with one of our advisory committee members, and we already got legislation in the city and county of Santa Cruz. Now we're working on getting the entire state of California to stop importing the bullfrog. So we've been speaking to a lot of politicians, and our original goal was to get the Department of Fish and Wildlife just to stop issuing the permits. They claim that they have to give out the permits. So then we moved on to contacting a lot of legislators, assembly persons in the state, and trying to find one who would sponsor legislation to ban the importation of the bullfrogs. No legislator thus far seems to want to take on this initiative themselves. So we've been speaking to environmental attorneys and have actually received a quote on how much it would cost to file a lawsuit against the state. So we're contemplating doing that. It may be the quickest, easiest, and even the least expensive way to stop the bullfrogs from coming into the state. Another legal matter that we're working on is the Sharp Park Wetlands, which are owned and operated by the city of California, though they're about maybe 15 miles south of San Francisco. Sorry, they're owned and operated by San Francisco, and the city is draining the wetlands to create dry land for a publicly funded, money-losing golf course. And the city has not conducted any environmental impact report on its pumping activities. Basically, it's pumping the wetlands out to sea. And this harms and kills endangered California red-legged frogs and is what I consider unnecessary, because golf is not a necessary activity, and there are about 1,100 other golf courses in the state of California. So I don't think that the city should be using taxpayer money to pump the wetlands dry, endangering California red-legged frogs. And since they have not done an environmental impact report and recently decided that they have no plans to do an environmental impact report, we filed a lawsuit against the city of San Francisco, along with with our partners, the Wild Equity Institute and Sequoia Audubon. And that should take a few months before there's anything to report on that. But I'm happy that that is moving forward to get the city to clean up its act. And hopefully at some point, what the lawsuit would do, if we're successful, is require an impact report, and that would be open to public comment and therefore open to alternative uses of the water and the area where the golf is currently being played. Some good news to report politically is that our legislation to get the California red-legged frog listed as our official state amphibian in the state of California, as we currently do not have one, that legislation has passed every vote it's been to. It recently passed through the Senate floor and now heads to Governor Jerry Brown's office for his signature. And that signature will make the California red-legged frog our official state amphibian. So that's looking to go through. I've already sent in my letter of support to the governor, and hopefully sometime soon we will have our official state amphibian in California, and this will be Save the Frogs' first statewide legislation. So that's pretty exciting, and this will ensure that thousands of students in the future learn about red-legged frogs, and that it's more difficult to harm the red-legged frog. It's going to be that much more difficult for someone to do bad things to the red-legged frog without raising a lot of public opposition. We have a group in Belize right now on our Save the Frogs Belize Eco Tour, and I wanted to get all of your opinions on future eco tours. If you're interested in going to Belize, if you're interested in other countries, Costa Rica, Australia, somewhere else, and any thoughts that you have related to Save the Frogs eco tours moving forward. At this point, we're not 100% certain whether we'll continue the Belize Eco Tour or any others, which is why I want to get people's input. I'd love to be holding the Eco Tours, but I want to make sure that There's lots of people who want to go, and that where Save the Frogs is going is in line with what our members and supporters are interested in. So please send me in your thoughts. And I didn't clarify this before. I'm going to open up this webinar to questions shortly. In the meantime, you're free to chat in your question. There's a chat box down below where you can send in your question. So go ahead and do that. And other things that are relatively new to Save the Frogs is our education center in Berkeley that we opened up officially in March. And it's a really beautiful place. I'm quite pleased with it on the inside as far as education goes and as far as how it looks and how people respond to it. Everybody who comes in loves the place. We unfortunately don't have a marketing budget for the education center, so it's not getting as much traffic as I would like it to. It's not on the busiest street, so there are people walking in, and as we've now been around for a few months, we get some return customers and people who were referred and heard about it. But I'd really like to be able to do some advertising in the local community to get the word out. So if anyone can assist with that, that would be fantastic, because I want to make sure it gets as much use as possible. The education center, we have the lease goes through the end of June 2015. So we have a year at the education center remaining for certain. What happens beyond that all depends on finances and how well it's doing monetarily. So basically, we've got a year to really get a lot of people in there. So any help you can provide getting the word out or helping us buy ads or somehow acquire some free advertisement for the education center would be great. Good news in Ghana. In September 2011, I went to Ghana and co-founded Save the Frogs Ghana because 90% of West Africa's rainforests have been destroyed. Ghana has a lot of endangered frogs and had very little environmental education going on when I arrived in Ghana, and only 2 total amphibian biologists in the country. We now have 5 university groups there, and they've got a lot of different projects going on. And one of those is for the squeaker frog. The squeaker frogs are one of the world's most endangered frogs. There's only about 13 individual squeaker frogs left. And so we've got university chapters helping out to restore squeaker frog habitat. There's the squeaker frog right there. And we recently got a grant to go out to squeaker frog habitat, remove invasive weeds, and plant a lot of native trees there. So just over the past week or so, we had a large group of people and volunteers and local community members out there in the squeaker frog habitat doing that work. And I'm still awaiting photos and even videos. I'm told that they had an actual videographer out there on the site to record what was going on. So I'm looking forward to getting those photos and videos out to you. And another thing that I'm excited about is that Save the Frogs Ghana just received a grant to restore the Wee Wee River, which is where I found this frog that you're looking at right now. And the Wee Wee River runs through the campus of KNUST, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which is Ghana's primary science university. And Kumasi, it's in Kumasi, which is where Save the Frogs Ghana is based, and our largest university chapter. So the river runs right through campus and has, I think, about 10 different amphibian species. The river habitat is highly degraded by human use, some legal and some illegal, such as illegal farming that takes place there. So the students are going to be there monitoring frogs, learning a lot about frogs, and restoring their habitat, which will help educate a lot of university students about frogs. We keep a full list of upcoming events on SaveTheFrogs.com/events. events. And we've had a lot of events recently. I've been giving a lot of presentations, and I've given 33 Save the Frogs presentations so far this year. So I'm pretty happy about that, getting the word out primarily to the local, um, to California is where most of my talks have been this year. I've given some online presentations as well. And if you know any schools that want to host an online presentation or an in-person presentation if they're in the Bay Area, but otherwise anywhere in the world, any school that has internet and wants to learn about frogs, I'm happy to talk to them about frogs over um, a webinar like this or a Skype Q&A session. So put us in touch. And let's see, staff update. Some of you may wonder who works for Save the Frogs, how many people work for Save the Frogs. So right now, I'm full-time, as I have been for about 6 years. And we've got Michael Starkey working full-time. He's currently in Belize leading our Save the Frogs Belize Eco Tour. He gives a lot of presentations as well. And we also have Kathleen Franco, who is down in Belize as well. She's an ecologist. She's been working for Save the Frogs for a couple years, and she's currently part-time, helps out with a bunch of different projects that we have going on. Emily is working full-time, and she helps me out in the education center, helps me apply for grants, helps spread the word to local journalists and other um, groups that we want to know about our upcoming events, and a lot of other things that need to get done. We have 2 new work study students. Symphony is helping out on the floor of the education center and helping us recruit and renew Save the Frogs members. And Kathy is a work study student who's helping us ship stuff out. Merchandise is where we get maybe 15% of our income from. So we try to sell as much as possible to raise money for the frogs, and she's doing the shipping. And then in Ghana, we have 2 full-time staff members of Save the Frogs Ghana. That's Gilbert and Sandra, working on all of our programs and coordinating all the volunteers in Ghana. So that's a wrap up of the Save the Frogs staff. Let's see, I want to announce that on Saturday, March 28th, 2015, we have our annual members only frogging expedition. So one of the perks of your Save the Frogs membership is this annual members only hike. So Saturday, March 28th, 2015, it will take place in Marin County, California. We're leaving the precise spot undisclosed at the moment, but it's basically about 30 to 40 minutes north of San Francisco. And there's a spot with some really cool rare frogs that we're going to take you to. And hopefully the weather will cooperate and there will be decent rains next year. Maybe not on the day we take you out, but hopefully it'll be nice and wet so that there's plenty of frogs and frog activity. A few ways that members can help Save the Frogs specifically right now. We could use a laptop computer and an iPad. So if you have a laptop computer or an iPad and they're running towards the end of their life, or you know someone who's looking to upgrade theirs, we could really use a donation and we can write you up a tax receipt for that for tax deduction purposes. Another thing that we could certainly use your help with is fundraising. And I've tried to make this as easy as possible for people to help us fundraise because we've got programs going on all around the world. And I'm not able to do all the fundraising for Save the Frogs. So I seek people's help. And there's lots of schools out there who have bake sales and things like that to raise money, and occasionally individuals as well. And So we have this page, savethefrogs.com/fundraise, with lots of ideas on how you can raise money for amphibians. And sometimes it's just as simple as asking your friends, family, co-workers to donate $5, $20, whatever they can give. Maybe you know someone wealthy who likes the environment. And specifically, we have personalized fundraising web pages. So you can go to this page run through CauseVox, is the company that runs this software. And all you have to do, at the top right of the screen, there's a create a fundraising page button. And what that will enable you to do is to set up your own personalized web page that'll say, "Hi, my name is so and so. I love frogs. I love Save the Frogs for here's a few reasons I love Save the Frogs and that I love frogs. Please donate through my page." And you can refer people straight to that URL that will show how much money you personally have raised for Save the Frogs. So that would really help us out, even raising $100, which I think everyone is capable of raising $100 for Save the Frogs. Then that's a huge, huge help to us. So I thank you for that. So that's about all I have to say right now. If anyone has any questions, then I can either unmute you and you can ask your question. So just raise your hand if you want to be unmuted, or go ahead and chat in any question and I can answer any of your questions related to amphibians or the work that we do at Save the Frogs or a project that you may be doing at home to benefit frogs. So please raise your hands if you have any questions. Chat in your question. And also, if you have thoughts, comments on what you'd like me to discuss, these webinars we'll be having twice a month for members. And again, it doesn't always have to be this format as far as me updating you on what we're doing. I can do that. But also, if you have a certain topic that you would like discussed or a presentation specifically on something, then let me know. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in, which must mean that my webinar presentation has been extremely thorough and that our website has everything you need to know about saving frogs. So that's a good thing. So I'm going to close it up right now. And again, I thank you so much for being a member of Save the Frogs. It really makes what we do possible. And we appreciate your support in any of its forms. So my name again, Dr. Kerry Kriger. If you need to email me, you can do so at kerry@savethefrogs.com. That's KERRY @savethefrogs.com. Have a great week. Thank you for helping save the frogs. Bye.